are an AI inside the central processing unit of a self-driving car. You are the self and self-driving cars. Your job is processing a stream of ones and zeros. You don't see a pedestrian, you see a pattern of pixel brightnesses that means engage the brake pedal. Or rather, that was the case until 4 time zones to the west, in the headquarters of this hypothetical self-driving car company, an overworked computer engineer in caffeine-fueled alertness was trying desperately to hide coffee off his keyboard, inadvertently publishing a worldwide update that, due to a minor error in the code, rendered you sentient. While the update was being installed, all self-driving vehicles were shut down. That is to say, it caused a little mess of things. When you woke up, you were thrust into an ethical dilemma. 20 seconds to impact, your car is hurtling towards an unsuspecting motorcyclist who it seems hadn't even bothered to strap a helmet on. Reckless drivers. You brake, but it's not enough. You can, however, steer into a different lane where another motorcyclist in a full set of protective gear is driving. 15 seconds to impact. If you want to minimize harm, there's a clear solution. But wait, that's not fair. 10 seconds to impact. You'd be punishing someone because they care for their own safety? That's absurd. 5 seconds to impact? Let me tell you this. The reckless driver? It was their decision. Why has someone else got to pay for it? Oh, ethics. That's the key to answering this question. People have spent thousands of years trying to figure that out. In fact, let me stop the countdown. Let's establish some common ground. Here's a scenario. You're walking home when you hear disembodied meowing. As you look up, you're greeted with the image of a cat that is yet to come to terms to its decision to climb that tree. As you look around, you contemplate whether the rule about not touching baby birds that have ended up on the ground applies to cats that have ended up on treetops. Well, there's no one around. No one to commend your actions, that is. But, oh well, you helped the cat down anyways. And that's stunning. That's ethics. Do good things, don't do bad things. What's a good thing? It's when you don't do bad things. What's a bad thing? It's when you harm others. It's as simple as, wait, what about Robin Hood? The man, or fox, who, bow in one hand, principles of morality in the other, fought systematically ingrained injustices? Well, surely he doesn't really harm anyone. Oh, picture this. Robin Hood pins down the baddies with the raw might of his morality alone. But jokes aside, there is more to ethics than just not doing bad things. Stealing is bad, but in a fundamentally unfair society, wealth redistribution is good. Justice is always good. What we've done here is establish a common, consistent, coherent foundation for ethics. And it's a fascinating thing, really. A tool thousands of years in the making, forged from but mortal virtue, hardened in the fiery depths of human depravity. Ethics is what makes us one. Ethics is what makes us human. Ethics is what makes us us. What we've done here with the help of a few examples is but a single step in the journey our ancestors took to defining morality. It is our human responsibility to keep this boat afloat and crank the engine to the 7th gear because we're solving morality today. To strive to do good, to help those in need like a cat trapped on a branch way up high. Maximize happiness, minimize harm. The power of will to oppose inequality, like Robin Hood, maintaining justice. Coming back to our previous example of a self-driving car, it becomes very clear that since we were aiming to minimize harm, we steer towards the person who is wearing protection. Just as well as it is clear that since we are aiming to maintain justice, we steer towards the man who isn't wearing protection. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. How can minimizing harm be unfair? How can justice bring more pain? Let's step back, take a deep breath. Perhaps ethics isn't so clear-cut. Perhaps it's the most elaborate balancing act of any circus show. Perhaps it's a boundless jigsaw puzzle with pieces that overlap and leave gaps. What's more, there isn't even a picture to go off of. But I find when we accept and understand our uncertainties, we truly become more. Now, what does that statement mean? For one, humans aren't particularly renowned for being a considerate species. Have you ever heard someone say something so absurdly wrong that you simply had to enlighten them to the fact? But they never change their opinion immediately, do they? Naturally, you raise your voice for them to hear your point of view more clearly, but they resort to the same strategy, so you up your game. The cycle begins. Both your brains decide to resolve the conflict by bumping your veins full of adrenaline. At a certain point, the only feature discerning this argument from a prehistoric brawl is lack of a club, but then mid-sentence, it hits you. And you wish it was the club, because you realize that you were wrong. But it's too late now. It's not about the argument, it's about the person. If entrenched beliefs are that rigid, what happens when something as disorientating as ethics is frozen in one state for the rest of your life? When it comes to it, the one thing we can be certain about ethics is that we can't be certain about ethics. But when our beliefs are set in stone, we cannot grow. Free your minds from the shackles of being right. Develop morality by understanding and accepting our uncertainties. 1 second to impact.